Oh, my heart burns.
Wait, let me see that.
What in the name of science was that for, Andrew?
Oh, I understand now. You're suffering from a condition called heartburn. No wonder your heart burns.
Oh, what's a heartburn? Did I eat too many chili peppers while crying in the bathroom?
That may certainly be the case. In fact, many spicy foods, especially chili peppers, are known to irritate a part of your body called the esophagus.
Wait, what's an esophagus? Is it that thing that digests food?
That's the intestine, you stupid!
Oh, no. These two IB nerds were doing a presentation in science class today about the esophagus. I fell asleep. It was so boring.
That was us, stupid!
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Hello, class. Oh my, I just forgot. Just Mr. Lee. Thanks a lot to the Ford government and their inability to provide proper education for students. I mean, come on, larger class sizes, e-learning, more like e-gaming. Will Premier Ford and his education butler let you just...
Enough of your... Will you please just... We're trying to do a presentation about the esophagus here. I'm sorry, maybe it's not your favorite organ, but it's not my fault you chose 11. Out of 12 cards, you had to choose the one that adds up to your freaking IQ.
Okay, enough talking, you hypocrite. Just start with the presentation
Okay,
already.
finally. So, one simple question first. What is the esophagus?
The esophagus is in fact a muscular tube connecting the throat, the pharynx, with the stomach.
The esophagus is about an average of 25 centimeters or 10 inches long, with a diameter of 1.5 to 2 centimeters. The esophagus is composed of 4 layers, as seen in this diagram. The very inner layer, pink tissue lining, is called the mucosa, that includes 3 layers, being the epithelium, which is lined with squamous epithelium containing many mucous glands. This layer is also comprised of lamina propria and muscularis mucosa, which is a really thin layer of involuntary muscle. The next layer in the esophagus is the submucosa, which connects the mucosa and the muscularis in the next layer. The submucosa is a thick, loose fibrous layer containing mostly mucous glands to keep the esophagus lubricated and helps food pass down. Together, the mucosa and submucosa form the long longitudinal folds. The third layer is the muscularis. This is a thicker layer of muscle that is responsible for coordinated movement of food. The final layer is the tunica adventitia. It is composed of loose fibrous tissue that connects the esophagus with neighboring structures.
The esophagus runs behind the windpipe, trachea, and the heart in front of the spine.
At the top of the esophagus is the upper esophageal sphincter, otherwise known as UES, a combination of muscles that are able to be consciously controlled. They are used under circumstances such as vomiting, eating, breathing, and belching. The UES also prevents food from going into the windpipe.
On the other end of the esophagus is the lower esophageal sphincter, or LES. It is another combination of muscles. However, unlike the UES, the LES is comprised of involuntarily controlled muscles. This means that they move without you thinking about it. It is located at the bottom area of the esophagus, where it meets the stomach. It closes to prevent stomach contents from flowing back into the esophagus.
In terms of the function of the esophagus, it forms an important piece in the gastrointestinal tract and functions as the conduit for food and liquids that have been swallowed into the pharynx to reach the stomach.
Just like any other organ in the human body, the esophagus is extremely important, and our body would certainly not be in its best shape without it. Unfortunately, there are many illnesses that decrease our esophagus's ability to function to its normal capacity. Let's start off by listing a couple.
First, we have heartburn. That's what future me was experiencing.
Heartburn is the result of lower esophageal sphincter losing its ability to completely close itself. In consequence, reflux, which are stomach acids, may flow back into the esophagus.
As heartburn is pretty common, humans have developed many ways to treat this kind of illness. Some examples of this include wearing loose clothes, standing up straight and elevating your upper body so you don't slouch, eating ginger, taking liquor supplements, sipping apple vinegar, and chewing gum to help dilute the acid. Next, it is gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD for short. This condition is related to heartburn. It describes extremely frequent reflux. It's kind of like having a heartburn, but almost all the time. But as of now, as technology has advanced quite a bit, there are new biotech produced to combat GERD, as will be explained after the illnesses.
Esophagitis is another possible illness. This takes place when the esophagus becomes inflamed due to irritation, damaging esophagus tissues. It can cause painful swellings and chest pains.
The pictures above were taken by endoscopy, a way for scientists and doctors to find problems in the esophagus and the stomach. This will be discussed later when we get to biotech. There is also Burnett's esophagus, which happens when otherwise regular stomach acid reflux irritates the esophagus, causing the LES to change its shape. A very low percentage of the time, this illness may develop into esophagus cancer. It also should be noted that the Burnett's esophagus is also noted as a serious complication to GERD, also known as the gastroesophageal reflux disease.
An esophagus ulcer is when chronic reflux is able to cause an erosion in the inside surface of the esophagus.
It should be noted that esophageal ulcer is a type of peptic ulcer that develops in the lining of the esophagus. They usually occur when the mucus that protects the gastrointestinal tract wears away. An esophageal stricture is when the esophagus narrows as a result to constant irritation and reflux.
Activities such as smoking, chronic reflux, and excessive drinking can cause esophageal cancer, a severe illness that can lead to death.
Another example is the Mallory-Weiss tear. This is a result of retching and vomiting. This may create a tear being created in the esophagus lining. This causes blood from the esophagus to bleed into the stomach. In consequence, there is a possibility of vomiting blood.
Finally, people who experience cirrhosis have a possibility for the veins in their esophagus to swell. These veins have a significant chance of causing life-threatening bleeding. This is the result of an esophageal varus.
Oh my god, looking at these diseases, I'm really getting some goosebumps. It's some scary stuff, right? What could somebody do to avoid these discomforts?
Discomfort is life and death that we are talking about. Esophageal cancer is in fact the 7th deadliest type of cancer among men. However, there are many revolutionary biotechnologies that can aid in the recovery process.
Luckily, the esophagus is a tube with a diameter of 1.5 to 2 centimeters. As a result, camera pills can be used by doctors in order to determine where the area of infection is. When the patient ingests a pill-sized camera through their mouth, the doctor would be able to get a clear view of the condition of the esophagus. In consequence, medication could be prescribed with higher effectiveness.
Oh, this is definitely an interesting one. In 2017, the first ever esophagus implant took place in the United States, performed by 2 Italian doctors, Fabio Triolo and Savario LaFrancesca. They did so on a 75-year-old patient who had been suffering from esophagus cancer. Behind the operation was the company BioStage, which LaFrancesca is the president of. They develop bioengineered organs to implant into patients with esophageal cancer or any other illness of this organ.
Now getting into the finer details of biotechnology, in treating illnesses from the esophagus, there are some interesting new technology that could cure millions of people. Firstly, to generalize all the topics, there are two main components that are able to help others treat most illnesses related to the esophagus, such as esophageal ulcer, GERD, etc. The first one is similar to the camera pill. This is called endoscopy. This involves inserting a thin, flexible tube with a camera down your throat. This allows doctors to get an even better understanding of your illness, such as inflammation and other complications. They can even be used to collect a sample of tissue used in biopsy to test for complications such as Burnett's esophagus. The other part is with medications such as antacids as well as H2 receptor blockers, as well as proton pump inhibitors, also known as PPIs. They are all different and can help treat illnesses in different ways. Firstly, when looking at proton pump inhibitors, these can reduce the amount of stomach acid your body produces. As a result, it provides time for the patient's esophageal tissue to recover. H2 receptor blockers, also known as histamine H2 receptor antagonists, are pretty similar to PPIs, as they try to reduce the amount of acid produced by cells in the lining of the stomach. Finally, antacids are sort of different compared to PPIs and H2 receptor blockers in how they try to prevent secretion of stomach acid. Antacids are over-the-counter drugs that neutralize the acid in your stomach. For many of the illnesses, X-rays are often taken to see inside, but many illnesses use different types of X-rays to help get a better understanding of the patient. For example, in esophageal strictures, patients are able to swallow barium pills before getting an X-ray of their chest, as the barium coats the inside of the upper GI and reveals any narrowing of the esophagus. For this illness, you can also use CT scans, which is a detailed scan, while using X-ray and computer technology to provide detailed images of the esophagus. For illnesses like the Mallory-Weiss-Tier, doctors can give you injections or a heat treatment to stop the bleeding. To treat esophageal ulcer, there are many ways that it can be treated, but in severe cases, surgeries such as tightening the lower esophageal sphincter valves near the top of the stomach are an option. Finally, when looking at the GERD illness, there are several types of technologies that can help the treatment. For example, ambulatory acid pH probe test. This happens as a monitor is placed in your esophagus to monitor when and for how long does the acid in your stomach regurgitates. The monitors are usually a thin flexible tube that goes through your nose and connects to a small computer that you wear around your waist. Another option is esophageal manometry. These are tests that measure contractions in your esophagus when you swallow, as well as measuring the coordination and forces exerted by the muscles in your esophagus. Finally, doctors could let you drink chalky liquids and take an X-ray. As the liquid fills the inside lining of your digestive tract, it allows the professional to see a silhouette of the esophagus, stomach, and upper intestines.
Ooh, man, that was a lot of information.
Yeah, man, I hope the class, Mr. Lee didn't fall asleep during our presentation.
I know, right? I am dying for some application marks.
Yo, I need to boost my communication as well.
Okay. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of our information session. Thank you everyone for, just Mr. Lee, for hopefully not falling asleep during our presentation. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our seminar.
See you later, alligators.
Wow, those IB tryhards. What tryhards are they?
I know, right? They probably play like Minecraft until like 2 a.m. at night.
Hey man, I know that they may be excessively intelligent, but at least we learned some important information today.
Yeah, that's true. People could really use this knowledge to educate themselves on the illnesses and treatments of the esophagus, but most importantly, how important it is to our body.
Wait a minute. What time is it?
It's
It's already 11 p.m. I need to go get some sleep.
Oh, wait, no, do you want to play some Minecraft?
Sure thing. I love playing Minecraft.
One eternity later.
Oh, boy, am I tired. What time is it? It's already 2 a.m. Oh my, I really need to get some sleep. Oh,